Here we go. Okay, let me get my script together. Okay, good morning. Oh, here's Tucker too. Fantastic. Good morning. As a preliminary matter, this is John Brescher, Chair of the Town Government Study Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated in the addition present can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Rick Atherton.
Aye.
Campbell Sutton.
Here.
Tucker Holland.
Here.
Welcome. Linda
you.
Williams. Is on mute, but she's here. And Curtis Barnes.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, good. This open meeting of the Town Government Study Committee is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment to those members of the public who have joined via Zoom. For this meeting, the Town Government Study Committee is convened by video conference via the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I, the chair, notes otherwise. We're now turning the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, let's go over some ground rules. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, invite each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And for items of public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public who have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Okay, first item on the agenda, approval of the agenda as written. May I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Second.
So moved.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Rick Atherton.
Aye.
Campbell Sutton.
Aye.
Tucker Holland.
Aye.
Linda Williams.
Aye.
Chris Barnes.
Aye.
And the chair, John Brescher, votes aye as well. Okay, public comment. Seeing as there are no members from the public here, I think we can pass that to approval of the minutes of April 13th and 2021 and May 6th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call vote. Rick Atherton.
Aye.
Campbell Sutton.
Aye.
Tucker Holland.
Aye.
Linda Williams.
Aye.
Curtis Barnes.
Aye.
Chair John Brescher votes aye as well. Okay, first time on the first item for the meat of discussion today: review of the charter revisions by Town Council's office. I trust everyone has had a chance to look at Lauren's comments, and frankly, I will just open up the discussion for what folks thought of those.
Well, you should probably go page by page.
We'll go page by page. Let's go page by page. It's fine with me. She had no comments on page 1.
Nope.
Or page 2, and then she went to the town. Next one is the town moderator for a 3-year
I don't
term.
know why she has to run every single freaking year.
It's funny. I thought the same thing. That makes perfect sense to me. I didn't know that other moderators had a longer term. It seems. I tend to agree with you. It seems silly. Does anyone else have any thoughts on this one?
I think 3 years is fine because everybody else is running 3 to 5 years on all the other boards.
So my question was regarding that section, whether it falls under something we were looking into or not.
Well, the point was, is that we give it to her and she was to come back with what's going on around the state or what changed in state law. It didn't have to be something we had been looking into. She was supposed to review this document for 2 years and tell us what's going on elsewhere and what
And
we have to change.
Or to-
That's why.
And then we were to comment on it. I
Yeah,
thought at a specific section or sections.
no, we asked her to review the entire
Yeah,
document.
she was doing an overhaul of the whole thing.
Okay,
So I'm in favor of this one.
John,
Yes,
can I,
Yes, Rick.
just so we understand how we're going to do this, we could vote on each of these one at a time. We could get to the end and say, we all remember what we want to proceed with and have a aggregate motion to include as a specific recommendation, which may be part of other recommendations to amend the charter. So I think we just need to know how we're going to work through here.
Right.
I think it's easier to take them one at a time because then we just check them off as we go through. I'm
Right.
not gonna
And
remember what the hell we did after we get through this.
then we do at least have a record that's recorded.
Yep.
And we can always go back. So I don't mind that, Linda. I'm just think we ought to know where we're headed here.
I think that's a smart idea. Why don't we take advantage of that idea and do them one at a time? So I guess the question is, do we? Yes, Rick.
Well, I mean, I'd be happy to start. We could just have a motion. But I didn't mean to interrupt you, John. Go ahead.
No, I was actually curious how we were going to do this as a motion. So I'm,
Well, I think the
I'm
way
all ears.
well, I think the way you do it officially with any other action of the committee is to ask the committee members to vote. So I would move we accept the recommendation of Lauren and change the term of the moderator to 3 years as a recommended change to the charter.
I'll second that.
Third.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, let's go roll call vote. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
aye,
Tucker Holland,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes,
Aye.
and the chair, John Brescher, votes aye as well. Okay, cool.
Hey, we did something.
Progress.
Hallelujah.
Okay, next comment that she had was on the clerk of the meeting. And I'll just read the text for a second. If an alternate clerk in the meeting is not appointed or is unable to serve, the moderator shall appoint a clerk, to which Lauren said, note that this doesn't address whether appointing of a clerk under this section must be a resident or registered voter in the town.
Yeah, registered voter of the town.
So I guess I think that's a fairly benign revision.
I'll motion that one.
well,
Okay.
just to,
Yep,
A
go ahead,
second.
Campbell.
maybe you have discussion after the motion, I'm not sure. But I was just trying to think, what were the two options that she had?
A resident or a registered voter?
Okay,
That's a
so
registered voter.
a registered voter is a resident, correct?
Yes. You have to be here
And-
more than 6 months to be a registered voter.
Is it someone who needs to be a town meeting participant?
Yeah,
Matter.
they have to be at town meeting.
Yeah, I mean, someone has to be present. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yes, Rick.
I just wanted someone who is actually
Sure.
like involved with town meeting and not just a voter who
Right.
votes.
Out somewhere in Florida? No.
Yes, Rick.
Well, I suppose one way to answer Tim's question is if you want to vote at town meeting the way it is right now, you have to be present. So that takes care of the Florida situation. I don't think, frankly, we need to comment. I'm happy to add the moderator shall appoint a clerk who shall be a registered voter of the town. I think that takes care of it. And attendance is up to the moderator and the clerk, like anybody else. They might be sick. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows what might happen?
That's why I said just registered voter of the town, period.
So I think we're in sync there.
All right.
Someone ought to move that.
So
I
I think Linda made that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, let's, all those in favor, let's go. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Tucker Holland,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes.
Aye.
The chair votes aye as well. Okay, cool. Can't stop progress. All right, next one is the town meeting warrant under section 2.5B. It says the Board of Selectmen, and by the way, I think the sort of an overarching comment is going to be that we need to change the Board of Selectmen to the Select Board.
Yeah, overall,
Yeah.
any
Exactly.
place that pops up.
Exactly.
Excuse me, I believe that was voted at
It
town
wasn't
meeting.
changed in the charter.
Excuse me, it was
Wasn't
not.
changed in the charter, no,
I don't think it was.
no.
I think
It's
we talked, I know it came
All
up
of it.
last year, but I don't think it showed up every single spot on the charter, believe it or not.
Well, that's odd because I thought that's exactly what we voted to do, was to have the town's charter reflect gender
Well,
neutrality.
she-
But
Yeah.
anyway.
maybe she's looking at an old charter too. Not the most up-to-date one.
Well, it hasn't been done, but it needs to be done.
Been done.
There you go. Good answer. Okay, so it says the Board of Selectmen shall publish notice on the issuance of warrant at each town meeting in a newspaper of general circulation within the town. And Lawrence, you said, hey, we should recommend that the town website be added here too.
Yep, I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call vote. All those in favor, Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
I think so.
Tucker Holland,
Yes.
Linda Williams,
Yes,
Curtis
Well, I mean,
Barnes.
It's a-
Aye.
we can't be
And chair
nitpicking
votes aye.
that, this kind of stuff. We'll never get it through this.
Yeah.
It
Can't
changed
do
it
that.
board in that statement John read, then I would agree.
There we go. Okay, so then she had under section 2.5C that the quote, the Board of Selectmen shall publish the warrant with the recommendations of the Finance Committee by mailing a copy of such warrant to the address or postal box of each registered voter at least 7 days prior to town meeting. Lauren's comment was requirements like this are being removed from other charters. The general feeling is that the mailing is expensive. People can download from the internet, and or people who want the printed docs can request that they be mailed, sign up list for mailing or warrant. There's lots of talk of saving the trees.
There was a question of the word, John, and you know this as well as I do, the word shall versus may.
Yep.
And I think that's probably where she's sort of, give them the option, but they don't have to shall. And that is shall carries it with it a lot more. You're going to do it whether you like it or not.
Right.
The shall part, I have to say that before I started my most recent volunteer stint, I really depended on getting it in the mail. I will say that I think the 7 days is insufficient. I think it should be 10 days, given there was a time when the mail circulated on island. So if you sent it, you'd receive it. This seemed like enough, but now it gets shipped off island, or, even if it's included with the inky mirror, but the postal system seems to have slowed significantly. And I've had times when I haven't received it till the day before town meeting, which didn't seem right. So mine would be more the timing. And I'm not sure how we could make it so people could request, in a timely fashion, whether they want a paper copy or not. Do you have a box on your taxes? I don't know how you would go, but I like the paper copy.
I just got 4 in my mailbox. What's the point of that?
Curtis, I see your hand up.
First of all, I think the warrant is printed off island under a contract and then it's mailed. But secondly, as I have said, I absolutely think it's essential to have printed copies available on a timely basis. I get it in the ink and M. You can pick it up, but I do not think we should not have printed copies of the warrant.
Oh, I love my printed copy.
So I
You
guess,
mark it up and you get ready and you make your notes and you.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
The,
Rick, your
the
hand's up.
difference is, oh, sorry.
Oh. Sorry, go ahead, Tucker.
No, or Rick, go ahead.
Rick.
Well, I was going to go ahead and make a motion. We could continue the discussion. And I think the motion on this one would be that we change the 7 days to 10 and leave the rest of the section as is.
Including the word shall?
Yes.
Yes.
Other, if you give the town administration the option, anyway, my motion is to leave the word shall in.
Shall. Amen. Shall.
Oh,
Okay, motion was made. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
I just was going to say that I 100% agree that printed copies should be available, and that 7 days is probably not a sufficient time in advance to have them available. I probably do hesitate on shall, that
Yeah.
it's automatically mailed to every single person.
Yeah, what I would rather say is that select board shall make available.
No. Because then you just put a pile of them at the town building and say they're available.
That's where they
Right.
are. They're all over the place
Mail.
now.
Except you can't get into the town building. Yes, Rick.
Yeah, just my discussion point. My recollection from my time on the board is that if you take the shall out, it won't be long before they won't mail them. So just make sure you understand that.
Yes,
Shall.
Campbell.
So the one thing I would like to interject is just, we do have an older population that does come to the town meeting, and given the lack of handicapped spaces and parking and difficulties, especially right now, if there's construction, forget about it. So just that available doesn't seem like it touches enough people without inconveniencing them over much. And so I would like to, at least at this time, keep the mailing in. If at some time in the future they can figure out how they could make it very convenient and easy for people to access this paper copy, then I think it can be looked at. And I'm with Rick. If something, not everybody thinks yes, I will means yes, I will. Some people means, well, I can say I will now, but I won't later. So I think shall is important.
Curtis.
Carrying on with that idea, if you have to retrieve it from the internet, you're going to be printing out 120 pages of stuff, which is almost as more wasteful than printing and mailing. So the idea that the only way to get it would be electronically just doesn't work. So I go with Rick again. Shall stays, make it 10 days in advance. And I hope that is the consolidated motion.
Yes, Tucker.
Yeah, I mean, I just think we're being presented with like a false black and white choice. Like, it's not that it shouldn't be available in print, or that you have to only download it, from the internet. It's just, I think, Curtis, you were saying you actually get the copy from the paper, which is different than mailing it to every single voter.
Yeah, publishing is different.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion that we follow through with this, or we vote on this motion, but this may be one of those when we put this in our report, we would add dicta. In other words, saying that the board had, the committee had some comments on this, and these were some of the factors that came into this decision, just so we present it saying that, look, there's a reason why we looked at only 7, we expanded it to 10 days, but we actually thought about all these other issues as well, but this is what we concluded. Yes, Curtis?
Just to emphasize that point, I actually have gone in to when it was electronic, because I was looking up specific information like Article 90. So I scrolled through the darn thing So having it available online is a good idea, but I still think you can't take online into the meeting, and I think the printed copies stay. So the motion again is to stay with where we are.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on this motion?
Are we satisfied with the 10 days?
Well, that is a question. Should it be 2 weeks?
Well, here's
Well-
the reason why 10 days may not work is that a lot of people are in Florida, like my ex-in-laws. They're in Florida until they come back like the day before. And if it's 10 days, as you know, as Campbell mentioned, the mail has been anything but great. And it may be 2 weeks. 2 weeks might be, and that
Well,
also
that's
gives
the
them time to
problem.
get the recommendations in there. So
Campbell, your hand's up.
Yeah, so the reason I had chosen 10 days is that I do believe there's a lot of deadlines surrounding the print of this that various groups have to meet and get together and so I didn't want a whole nother 7 days ahead for them, make it 14 days because it might interfere with some of the deadline timelines and things like that. But I think an
that's
additional
what I said.
much. And if you're in Florida, you can still access it online, but it would be in your post when you arrived home.
That's not the way it works. A lot of people have the mail forwarded. That's the point.
Oh,
It takes 2
well,
weeks to get your mail forwarded.
Well, that's their problem, not ours.
That's the post office problem.
All right, so is there any, so we're at 10 days unless someone wants to amend the motion. But I think we should continue to move with this. Yes, Tucker.
Yeah, I would like to amend the motion to make it 2 weeks if Rick is amenable to that.
Yeah, that's where I am right now because the deadlines, Campbell, are way before that.
Only 4-day difference. I have no problem with going from 10 to 14.
Okay, motion has been made. Linda seconded. Any discussion on the changing the motion from 7 days to 14 days? Okay, cool. Hearing none. Let's go. We'll do all in favor. We'll do roll call vote. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
aye.
Tucker Holland,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
I
Chris Barnes,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye as well. Okay,
Here's
Cool.
my other question, John.
yes.
I don't know where it is in here. It's come up a lot over the years. I don't know if it's in this section or if it's a different page. Whereas to get an item, forget special town meetings, to get an item, then we did discuss this when we first developed the charter, 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. That 10 signatures is allowing a lot of stupid stuff. And if we made it more difficult to get a bylaw or anything on the warrant,
Mhm.
10 signatures is ridiculous.
Well, I think it
Can I finish, please? If we up the amount
could go
to
in
whatever,
ridiculous.
20
should-
or what's happening here? If we up the amount to something a little bit more, you gotta really want to do it, then I think that would take a lot of this stuff at a town meeting that shouldn't be in there because people just sign. If you had to get 20 votes or 20 voters or 25 voters, 50, I think it's way up there for a special town meeting. But if you had to get more voters to sign on to something, you might think twice about having to put something stupid in there like that duty bylaw, if anybody remembers that one. So that's been a pet peeve for quite a while, but I don't know how everybody else feels and where it is in this charter. I forget because we did talk about the special for years.
So I say, excuse me,
Yeah.
had to raise my hand. I was gonna say, I think we were trying to go through this item by item, and if that
Yeah.
is the next, could you present it? And if it's not, then we'll keep Linda's comments in mind for when it does come up. But if we could stay in order, it might be helpful in the long run.
Well, that's why I brought it up because I wasn't sure if it was in this particular
Right.
section.
Curtis, your hand's still up.
Well, can I comment or does Campbell want me to shut up?
I'd rather hear you.
I do, I want to go on whatever the next item is, I think, is, we're.
Okay, well, I want to come back to Linda's point, definitely, at some point in today's, agenda.
Okay. Rick, your hand was up very quickly.
I was just going to agree with Campbell and Curtis. You could do that under other items, no problem.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we're going to get off. It could happen again and again.
Right.
We got 57 of these notes here or whatever.
Tucker, what's up?
I apologize, but I'm gonna have to leave in 2 minutes. I just
Okay.
heads up.
You're the
Okay.
one who set up these meetings. What's going on?
Hey, according to everyone's schedule,
Hey, what about your schedule?
things come up.
Okay,
Mhm.
so the next one, let's keep working on this. Is similar. It was in section 3.3 where the quote is, "The Board of Selectmen shall publish a public notice of such vote in a newspaper having general circulation within the town." And the comment that she had was, other requirements are being removed. The general feeling is that it's expensive, et cetera, and maybe not enough people are reading the newspaper. I don't know if you want to keep it, leave it. You tell me
Leave
how
it.
you feel.
Leave it.
Yes, Rick, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I would just agree with what Curtis just said. I think just to make sure we cover each one of these, I would move that we not change the requirement in the section. That's my motion.
Yeah, I
Second.
think we leave it alone.
Okay, great.
Second.
Okay, motion made and second to leave this section alone. Let's do any discussion on this motion. All right, hearing none, all in favor, let's go roll call vote. Rick Atherton,
I,
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Tucker Holland,
I
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye as well.
see you at the
Okay,
next
so-
meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tucker.
Hold on, Rick. Curtis.
I didn't
Okay.
understand the next one.
All right, next one we go to is section 3.4A4, where it says to exercise the power to disapprove appointments, disapprove of appointments made by the town manager. All appointments to the town manager to the position of assistant town manager, department head, or blah, 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 are subject to vote of disapproval by the Board of Selectmen, provided, however, that such appointments shall take effect unless the Board of Selectmen votes disapproval within a 15-day period following the day on which notice of the proposed appointment is filled by the board chair.
There was a
So
lot of discussion about this section when it came up, but when we gave the powers to the town manager. What she want us to do here?
I'll chime in very quickly. I don't think she needs to add this language, because I think what she's saying is that if the select board wants to disapprove of an appointment, they can do so within 15 days or
Yeah.
before 15 days. And that's the way I read it. And she's saying, or the board sooner approval.
Oh, that's just giving them well, that doesn't make any sense, does it?
That's kind of the way I'm reading. Yes, Rick.
no, I think what she's trying to say that is if the town manager felt there was an emergency and she had to appoint the chief of police tomorrow, she could, at a board meeting, ask the board specifically to approve her appointment, and that would void the 15-day wait period, is I think what Lauren is suggesting. My own sense is 15 days is not that long a time, and to interfere with something that's been around forever probably is unnecessary. I gave you an example of an emergency, but 15 days wouldn't change anything.
Chuck.
Yeah,
I don't mean to be daft. I'm inclined not to change this at all, partially because I don't fully understand what she's asking, and the odds of it coming up seem fairly minimal. And I'm concerned about making changes that would have unintended consequences. To be
Yeah, and that nobody's gonna understand anyway.
I don't get this.
Right.
I was trying to say the same thing, John. I agree with you. I make a motion that we not change this section.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and second. Any discussion on the motion? Campbell, I saw your hand up.
No, I was just going to ask a question because it seems like not understanding it, someone who may support it may understand it and take advantage of everyone's not understanding.
Well, if we have 5 people sitting here who don't understand it, I think that's pretty good.
So I'm thinking to agree with no changes, right? Not, we're not
Yeah.
accepting changes. We're going with the way it's written, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
That's
that
the
was,
motion.
that was Rick's motion and seconded. All right, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call vote. All in favor, Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye as well. Okay, next one. Here we go. We're making progress, I swear.
Are we?
All the way down to page, oh, this is good. Page 13, nice. Okay, so this is under the responsibilities of the town manager. And the town manager, the highlighted text is, shall approve warrants for payment before such warrants are submitted to the Board of Selectmen. So Lauren's comment was, many communities are finding that the town manager can approve warrants for payment in lieu of the Board of Selectmen.
I think we ought to go, I think we ought to go with what Lauren said.
That's an interesting one. Yes, Rick.
Agree.
Down.
Yeah, again, as one who served, when we used to sign warrants, I will virtually guarantee you that most selectmen didn't have a clue as to what was in the warrant. It was usually 10 pages long,
Yep.
500
Blanket sign.
warrant,
Right.
Yep.
and it was sort of silly. So anytime a select board member wishes to review the checks, they're free to do so. But I think requiring them to sign it when they don't pay any attention is unnecessary. And I move that we agree to allow the town manager to sign the warrant.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none. Roll call vote. All in favor, Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye as well.
That is going to create some efficiency in town government, I hope.
Fingers crossed. Oh, here you go. All right, section 4.3, town manager appointments. Town manager shall appoint the heads of all town administration departments or any other elected heads. That heads is the highlighted word. Lauren's comment was, consider inserting the word department prior to the word heads. So it's department heads.
Hold on. Shall appoint the heads of all.
Shall appoint the head
Okay.
other than
Yeah,
any.
that makes sense.
But it does it, in that section, doesn't it say what departments, or is that in another
Any
section?
department in the town structure.
It's in another section where they list the departments. This is just sort of the catch-all of clarifying that it's not just heads, but quote department heads.
Yeah, I would motion that one.
Okay, Rick, see your hand up.
Well, just for discussion, I'm not sure I mind. I don't know that there's a definition here of department or of head. So you're going from one undefined term to a term that people are perhaps more familiar with, but is not defined. I'm not sure everybody who is appointed by Libby is a department head. Is Lauren Sinatra the head of the Department of Energy, or is she a head of a special position? I'm just
Now
making.
go to the next page. Go to the next page where that defines department head.
So that's sort of what Campbell was asking. And if we just run with this, that's fine with me. But I think the important thing here to think about is how the town manager can then usually delegate authority, perhaps with the permission of the board, to others, and not that she does. But let me put it another way. I think of appointments being made by the person who is responsible for evaluation and supervision.
Guys, Go to page 15. Go to the next page. It talks about what department head is on the next page. The whole page is department head. So she's just tracking the language on page 15.
So she defines department head.
Yeah, go
on
to the
page-
next page.
I
Linda,
don't,
I'm on the next page. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But then it talks about what a department head is and department head responsibilities. All she's doing on the previous page is tracking the language.
All right,
When it
that
was
sounds
changed.
fine. I see. Yes, thank you, Linda.
So I'll make a motion to include the word department head on page 14.
Second,
A motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on this motion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll do roll call vote in favor. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
I,
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes,
aye,
and the chair votes aye as well.
So just to point out, maybe
Yes.
if I might on this, it also, that section, Linda, takes you down to 4.6,
Yep.
which also talks about department heads having the authority and so on. So it's a pretty broad delegation to the town manager to sort of run the joint. And I don't object to that. If somebody wants to interfere, that's up to the select board. So, but just to make note of that.
Sure. All right, now we go to section 5.4, which is the recall of elected officials. So 5.4B, let's see,
Believe me, when we first did the charter,
you know,
we spent a lot of time on this page.
so this is an interesting comment that Lauren has. So it's within, the section reads, within 10 days, the town clerk shall certify the signatures and if sufficient shall deliver upon request, quote, to any of the certified voters, a blank recall petition for naming such voter. So Lauren's comment was newer recall acts require that the recall petitioners to identify the first 10 signers of the petition and the lead petitioner.
And what is her problem?
I think it's just that it's adding that you identify, the recall petitioners have to identify the first 10 signers of that petitioner and the lead petitioner, which I don't believe we have in our section. That's the only comment that she's making. I don't know that she's necessarily advocating for it. I think it's pointing out that, hey, this is what other towns who have recently put in recall positions are doing, or recall bylaws.
Well, you know, when we sign warrant articles here, everybody has to sign the warrant article. So I'm not
Right.
sure what's happening here.
Yeah, Linda,
You
I
certify
sort
the
of follow you.
signature, so you have to identify yourself to sign the stupid petition.
And the first signer on line 1 is considered the petitioner.
Petitioner. That's the way
Right.
it works here.
Right. So I don't know if it is sort of closing that loop in terms of identifying. I'm not sure again what she's necessarily getting at. Yes, Rick.
Right, I mean, the petitions are public documents. They presumably would be posted, although if you're recalling a select board member, they may not want to post them, but presumably they're available. And you can read the first 10 anytime you want. So I'm not sure we need to change anything here.
I've never seen a blank petition for a recall. You have to sign something.
Right.
and just a question, so that blank recall is available online? Is that what Rick is saying? So that the reason we don't need to include this language is because it's common practice at this time to do what is being suggested as a change or an inclusion?
I don't exactly know. I think it's a change without a distinction.
Yeah, I feel like it's a heads up, basically, like an FYI. This is what other towns are doing, not necessarily advocating that we should do it, just informative. This is what other towns do.
Right. So what my question to Linda and Rick is that, is this suggestion he has already the normal course of action in that the petitioners the signature is available publicly on the petition of recall. Is that correct? We
Yeah, it
do?
has to be filed with the town clerk and anybody can go in. Once it's filed with the town clerk, it's a public document.
Okay, but it's not available online. It's just you go in and ask, correct? And this isn't saying make it available online.
No.
So,
Saying it's available, you know, with the town, carry the clerk's signature and all that other crap.
It's basically stating what already exists, or what has to exist, that you
That's what I
sign the
was-
petition.
that's what I was getting
Yeah.
to, John. It's just codifying what is already
Yeah.
normal practice, and whether that's worth a change or not, I think is what we'd be considering.
I think that's right. Yeah. My inclination, frankly, is to leave this one alone, much like the other one. I'm not sure sort of the purpose of this, truth be told. But it's just my 2 cents on it.
What does anyone else think on it? Curtis, Rick, Linda?
I'd leave it alone.
Leave it
Okay.
alone.
No, that's where I am. So to get a motion underway, I would move that we not support this change.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Okay, a motion was made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of not changing anything, we'll do a roll call vote. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye as well. Terrific. Okay, then we've got, it's interesting that of all the sections she focused on, it's been section 5.4. I think that's generated the most comments, and that's the one I feel like we've seen least in practice of all the sections in this charter. Whatever. So section 5.4C it says that if within 21 days after the certification date, such recall petition form signed by at least 20% of registered voters with town residents' addresses shown to or returned to the clerk, clerk shall within 14 days certify the signatures of registered voters to determine the sufficiency of the petition.
I
So
think what she's asking is how is that number established?
yes, and
I think
she's
that's
also
the
commenting
language
that
that's missing.
she also is commenting that giving the clerk a full 2 weeks to determine the accuracy of the signatures is a really long time.
Really long time.
So I feel like for what it's worth, we can take both of these at the same time. So her thought on identifying the 20% of registered voters, she said it would be helpful to identify when this number should be measured, perhaps at the last regular town election.
I
As
think
opposed to sort of the census. I appreciate sort of determining what the baseline should be. So
well, the town clerk is the one who certifies how many voters are in, you know, based on the census, all this other crap. But the town clerk is the one who has that number. And it should be established at some point. It can't be a roving number because then
Right.
how do you know how many you're going to get?
right, absolutely.
So it has to be established maybe on February 1st or, you know, some number, because as we know lately, the town meeting as well as the election has been a moving target when we can have it. So it would have to be April 1st or something.
So we could do March 1st, right, in between February and April. When it shouldn't be crushing, right, in terms of workload.
One would hope not. Again, I appreciate I do appreciate this concern. I think it's an interesting sort of planning ahead, for lack of a better term, in case someone were to say, well, I wasn't exact 20% of registered voters when. I don't believe that's accurate. To fight a recall. I get it. I mean, thankfully we haven't seen it before. So I mean, if we want to throw it in there as of March 1st of the previous year, I think maybe that's a reasonable compromise, and then say that the clerk only has 7 days to certify the signatures.
But you're talking about 20% of registered voters. That's over 2,000 people that you have to certify. You can't just do that in a day or two. That's a lot of work.
I think that's why it's the previous year, right?
I'm
Well-
sorry, I had to answer a call from the registry. Where are we now?
So we're still on the same one. It's saying that, so let's say we set up the date of March 1st. Let's just go with that. March 1st of the previous year. And so Curtis made the point that if the recall petition is signed by 20% of the voters,
What voters?
20% of the registered voters as of March 1st
Of any given year.
of any given year, that it would be that may take a while for the clerks to certify.
2,000 to 2,500
2,000,
names.
yeah.
Well, she knows before the election and before town meeting every year what the quorum of registered voters is for financial stuff, if you
But
recall.
you're talking about
there's some date
certifying
somewhere.
those
Yeah.
names.
Yeah,
There
that,
is some
and
time somewhere that she has to certify how many people we need for a financial article at town meeting.
right. And Linda, I don't think it's a question of the number. I think it's a question of checking the signatures to make
Yes.
sure those signatures match up as registered voters. And so she's got to look through 2,000 plus signatures,
No,
Or
10,000 and
200.
find, yeah.
or whatever 20% is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess the question is, how long?
14 days is not unreasonable to do that.
I'm fine with that. After thinking that through, that you have to certify 2,000 signatures. That's realistic. Okay, so any further discussion on this one? It seems that we would just throw the date of March 1st and leave 14 days, unless anyone strongly thinks otherwise.
Of any given year.
Of any given year, thank you. Yes, of any given year.
So moved.
Okay, 3-1, and of any given year, and leave 14 days. The motion was made. Is there a second?
Did you want to use the word as established by the town clerk?
Sure.
Agree.
She does it. He does it, whoever it is.
March 1st of any given year is established by the town clerk. 14 days, we leave that. That is the motion. Is there a second on the motion?
Second, or did I make the motion?
I think Curtis made
I
the
made
motion.
I'll second it.
I made it.
Okay, motion made and seconded.
Lying by here.
Any discussion on this motion? Rick?
I assume you mean the most recent March 1st, not any
Yes.
March 1st.
Yes.
Just a general comment. This isn't something we run into every day, and whether or not we want to talk to the clerk about the process and the days and all that gobbledygook before we do it. And if that takes a little bit of time, but that might be better here. There are lots of nits in this whole article or the whole section. So just think about that. I'm not, the need to change it is not imperative.
Yes,
Here-
Campbell.
Maybe what we do is we take the language we've developed and ask if that's, if in her view, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Versus having her comment on the change or whatever. If we just give her what we're thinking, then the idea is they can get back to us with if it works or any changes they would make.
That's fine. I mean, as a sort of as a practical matter of how we present this. I mean, obviously it's not going on the warrant this year, so we've got
Right,
time.
so that's fine. I'm not trying to put a
Yeah.
barrier up. It's just a little odd.
No, it's
The whole thing's odd.
well said. Okay, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, let's do roll call vote in favor. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye as well. Okay, then we've got, gosh, more of this. I shouldn't say foolishness, but more on the recall section. Section D says that if sufficient, the town clerk shall thereupon submit the petition with the date of its certification to the Board of Selectmen, which shall forthwith give written notice thereof to the officer, such to be recalled. If the officer does not resign within 7 days, the Board of Selectmen shall order a recall election to be held concurrently with the next annual election of town officers, not less than 75 days after such certification date. So
At the
Lauren
time-
had two comments on this.
Yeah, at
One
the
of
time
which-
we did this back in the day, that was the standard. Obviously, things have changed.
There you go. So, so Lauren's comment was that on the sentence that reads, if the officer does not resign within 7 days, she said, well, most similar provisions provide for only 5 days. Yep. And then the other one involves the selectmen shall order recall election to be held concurrently with the next annual election for town officers, not less than 75 days after such certification date. She added, this needs to be moved, in my opinion. The language should be inserted before the words. The Board of, she actually said, language should be inserted before the words after the words. So,
I didn't get that.
right. The Board of Selectmen shall. So what she's saying is, it in her opinion, it should read, if the officer does not resign within 5 days, the Board of Selectmen shall, not less than 75 days after such certification date, order a recall election to be held concurrently with the next annual election for town officers.
That's fine. I don't care.
So it's just movement
Is
of
that-
language.
That's just to get the person out who won't go out,
Yeah,
even
that's
though they've
just-
been.
Just to get the person.
So it's sort of like when you can't get rid of your tenant. Is that
Right.
what?
Right.
You
Unless
can
you're
have another.
recalling a member of the board.
Not
of
that we
Select-
ever see that, no.
How about that one? Unless you're recalling a member of the Board of Selectmen.
Hey, yo, right. All right, so anybody have any strong opinions on this one? Rick?
Just to make sure I understand the motion, are we saying that there shall be an election either the next annual or within 75 days? If the annual is 362 days in the future, you still have to have an election within 75.
That's my understanding.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, any other discussion on this?
No, and I don't think 5 days is, I think 5 days is fine.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion
Make a
then,
motion on both of those.
please?
Yeah.
Okay, motion was made and is there a second?
Second,
No, thank you, Campbell. Okay, motion made and second. Why not? Any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I'm going to abstain because I think that she was just clocking hours on this, and this seems like a big waste of our time to have her nitpick like this, and I'm sort of ticked off at her at this point.
Duly noted. Okay, we'll roll call vote in favor. Rick Atherton, Campbell Sutton,
aye.
Linda Williams,
I,
Curtis Barnes is abstaining, and the chair votes aye.
I'll just make a motion to approve the next one. That's just a semantics change.
Oh, where it says, it's basically on the recall election ballots shall say, consider revising this to state name and title of officer instead of name of officer.
That makes, that we should do that anyway, but that's, I'll make that.
Exactly. All right, motion been made. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Linda and Campbell, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote in favor. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
I,
Curtis Barnes,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye as well. Okay, I think we just have, dare I say, one more.
yeah, I agree with her. We put that in there when we first did the charter.
So this section says time of taking effect, and she wrote, this entire section, including the chart, can be deleted. These were transitional provisions. So it would be to completely delete section 6.6, which starts as this charter shall take effect on July, following the first ratification of, et cetera. So basically it's from 1990, looks like from 1997. So I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a
Make that motion.
motion? Okay, motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Comment,
Okay, what's up?
why did it take so long to get around to looking at this?
Okay, we can't, that's outside the scope of that's outside the scope of the vote. Can we take the vote?
I have no idea.
John, that's
All
outside
right.
the scope of the motion.
Yes. All right, let's keep plugging forward. So because we gotta end soon too. All right. Roll call vote. All in favor. Rick Atherton,
aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
Curtis Barnes,
I,
and chair votes aye as well. All
Now,
right.
I will track back to what Curtis just said. We were hoping for a more thorough comment about the charter, but I also do not see that she looked at the county charter at all.
yeah, I'm unimpressed, quite frankly.
That's what, that is what we waited 2 years for is astounding to me. However, I will say I don't have it in front of me. Unfortunately, I can't recall what email it was in, and I'm not really good at searching that way. But there was that section that we were quite concerned about. I believe it's in section 4.2, 4.3, having to do with the there seemed to be conflicting articles. I think one was Article 47, another Article 53, having to do with departments that were under the control of the town manager and departments that were not. And this regarded the Park and Rec department versus a Park and Rec commission. And I noticed in there that the Park and Rec department was placed under, in this revision that she did and cleaned up that section, I believe Park and Rec, Department of Park and Rec was put under her, the town, I don't want to say her, it's the town manager's position, regardless of who it is. And I'm not sure that I was in agreement with that. I think if anything, it should, and it still is a trickle down, right? I get that. It should be under the Department of Public Works. So it would be a department under Public Works, which I think is in line with many towns within the state and other states as well, versus directly under town manager's position. And having the Park and Rec Commission, I believe, is appointed by her. And I think the charter as rewritten, restructured, makes that clear, like takes the power away from the select board to make those appointments and hands it to what is happening, which is the town manager makes. Does anybody see that in there?
Go to page
Hold on,
15.
Curtis. Hold on, Curtis has his hand up. What's up, Curtis?
I'm really uncomfortable with the whole Park and Rec thing, and in particular, having it under DPW. I know Rob pretty well. I work with him, but I think Park and Rec has been kicked to the side by DPW. I think it needs not to be under DPW, but needs to be somewhat more autonomous someplace like it used to be.
All right, go to page 14, everybody. It's all right there. We're talking about the bottom of page 14 and page 15.
So what does it,
All right, what it says, go to, on your little charts there.
I don't have,
What I'm looking at it,
4.4, Town Administration Departments. The town
Yep.
administration shall include the building, finance, fire, health, island home, marine and coastal resources, police, public works, and visitor services departments. Provided, however, that nothing in this charter mandates the continued existence of any such town administration department or continuance of a department name or function. B, the town administration shall not include airport, the Parks and Rec, the school, and the water department. So it was on par for those outside entities. But then you go to the next page, which is where the problem occurred. This was
right.
in 2007, because I was nailed by this in 2007. In addition to the foregoing, the following boards, commissions, and agencies shall be hereby classified as town administration departments. So while it is outside on B, the town administration shall not include Parks and Rec. The staff was put under town administration. Board of Appeals, Conservation, Council on Aging, Council for Human Services, Historic District Commission, Planning Board, Parks and Rec Commission, Shellfish Advisory Board, all town employees and the employee of these boards. See, before 2007, I started working for the ZBA in '83. Before 2007, the staffs of those regulatory boards were under the auspices of the boards themselves. They hired and fired, okay? And we answered directly to our boards, not town administration. So while the Parks and Rec Commission department over here, with the water department, the airport department, and the school are outside of Libby's control, the staffs had to be under somebody's control. So they took all the staffs of these regulatory boards and put them under town administration. So while the boards themselves are outside town administration, the staff is under town administration. And that's where the problem occurred, as Rick remembers those days.
That's where, to Curtis's point, actually it was not dissolved by the DPW. It was dissolved by the town manager.
Yeah, the commission itself is not under town administration. The staff is under town administration, and Libby has the right as the town manager to delegate the staff to whatever she wants to delegate it to, which is how it keeps going around and around and around. Now,
Well,
that is different from Article 8, which allows the Parks and Rec Commission to have its own line item budget, which is what Jimmy was under, Charles was under, all those guys were under. They had the jurisdiction over the fields, the bathhouses, all that stuff, because they had a line item budget as staff. When the line item budget was struck is where the department disappeared, and those staff duties were then given to the DPW. So this was a very convoluted system. If town meeting voted in line item 8 in Article 8 to put a line item back in for staff, the Parks and Rec Commission could then have control over what's happening. The fact that we don't have a budget is why it's all screwed up at the DPW. But the
Right,
commission
but-
still exists under state law, but they have no powers.
What I will say to your point is that I believe in 2007, Article 47 I should probably look for that, stated
Article 44.
going to be a shift on the Council of Aging, three of them, three along those lines. So those three, the approval of that moving to the manager, the town manager's position, control to the town manager, came in front of town meeting. Now, nothing about the Park and Rec department and handing that power to her or to the town manager came through.
It did on staff. There's a difference.
Gang,
between
I'm
appointment.
gonna interrupt this discussion for a minute because I appreciate all the fact finding, but I hate to say this, we got like 20 days to get this done, and we're gonna need motions. We can regurgitate the same garbage about that's happened here. I mean, it's shameful, but with what they did to Park and Rec. But at some point, we're gonna need to make a motion.
But
and I don't know when we want to make that, but we're gonna need to say something about Parks and Rec, and because I think we're all frustrated about the whole situation. But we need to figure out a way to do something.
We cannot, the charter cannot compel the town to fund that line item for Parks and Rec. They zero it out every single year. We cannot, by charter, tell them they have to give them a budget and their staff. Staff is clearly under Libby, the commission is not.
Yes, Campbell, your hand's raised.
So my only comment, and the thing that has irritated me, yes, the Park and Rec thing, the thing that irritates me is that from any angle I look at this, I see a manipulation of the system to the desire of a manager, and that utilize the system to pull the wool over people's eyes as to what was happening. And we have only found out about it through the results of the deterioration of our parks, physical reality of our parks throughout the island. And I think that there's something in there that should not have occurred. I think it was sneaky. And I think everybody still continues to dance around it. And that's all I really wanted to say, because it smells. It just got a rotten fish smell like nobody's business.
Well, at the time, in Libby's defense, at the time, there was a big push to cut budgets, number one. Number two, the previous DPW department didn't like the fact that there was this roving department that she didn't have control over. So it wasn't just Libby, it was an organizational chart that brought everybody underneath, all the staffs underneath Libby's control. Eliminating the Parks and Rec as an independent staff group with Jimmy as the department head was where, and zeroing out the department budget is where the problem occurred, because Kara had no interest in doing those fields. CPC paid for a lot of these. They had no interest in doing it. It was an operational problem. Libby's not on those fields every day herself. She tasked them with doing it and they botched it. And it's never quite recovered from it because you've got scheduling at the community school, which screws it up entirely. Then you have field maintenance someplace else and they're not paying attention to them because their focus is on sewers and everything else. So there is a lack of focus and attention to what brings people to the island. That is the argument that should be made, but that's an operational issue. And I don't think it was sneaky. We knew it was happening. We knew pretty much at the time why it was happening.
Well, you did, but I mean,
it really needs to be revisited and Parks and Rec needs to have its own thing again. That's the point, with a focus solely on the fields and tourism and what brings people here.
Rick.
That motion.
Rick, I know your hand's been patiently raised.
I just want to be clear on one thing. I thought I heard Campbell say that Lauren made changes in these sections. And in my mind, there's no change in these sections. They're the same language that's been there forever.
Yeah, it hasn't been changed in her draft.
Yeah, the only change here is there's a box.
The articles that are referenced are changed. There is only one article referenced instead of the three that had been in that section. That's where her change comes in, is in cleaning up what articles are referenced for that section.
No, she didn't touch that.
Where is that, Campbell? I look at all her boxes and I don't see a box that you're referring to.
This is exactly as it was in 2007, Article 44.
Well, that's even worse because it's the one we kept asking to have reviewed.
Yeah.
So, and I only say that because one of the articles that's referenced totally has to do with our island home and has nothing to do with Park and Recs and is included in it. So that's, but that's the section that we were asking about and concerned about. And that is a section that apparently nothing has been done to. So,
well, I think when I asked her about this, when she was actually with us, Campbell, you may not have even been on then, it was so long ago. I asked her, can we force the town to establish a line item budget and create that, put the Department of Parks and Rec back where it was and function for 20 years so perfectly? And she said no. So this might be something, John, that we need to get her on to flesh this one section out.
There's a 1% chance that if we do that, we're going to get it before June 5th. I mean, if we want to, it's something we're going to have to put as like as a recommendation in our final report. Like have somebody else, have an outside consultant look at this,
because we've been at this.
We're not getting.
We've been at this one issue for 2 years
for this. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
So I think that's our comment, is that at the end, the section that we had most concern about had no attention spent to it, while, whether you put in department heads or heads is, was
Right.
looked at.
There was no
But I-
substantive changes recommended by her other than these little bullets. And
Oh,
that's not what I agree with Curtis. That's not what we asked her to do, really.
What I am wondering is, do we make a motion that there be a committee set up to review the efficacy and efficiency of the Park and Rec Commission and Department as it's currently formulated?
My,
We need to have a big paragraph on the Parks and Rec because we
Yeah,
talked
my-
about it from everybody. And there's a movement out here to put it back and put all the stuff back under like it was when Jimmy was running it. And Megan Ellsworth before that, she was the first director. I think we have to really flesh this section out when we make our recommendation.
so with that in mind, so we can keep moving forward, I mean, I would love to try to get some other motions on discussed today, but I don't know if we have the time to do so. We do have another meeting Monday morning, and then we have one the following Thursday. So I would love it if we could get something on Park and Rec maybe by the following, a week from now. Just
I'll
know,
take a
put-
crack at it because I was involved with setting
something-
it up in the first place.
put something together, but we're gonna need to do something. And I know this is a topic that's going to generate a lot of discussion, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I write up that piece, Linda, just for your recall, I did write up that piece that we had in the rough draft to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, can
So,
you send that back to me again? Or is that, I've got that, I printed that out,
Yeah.
I guess. I printed
The
it out.
memo, and you can add in.
All
so,
right, and then John, there's other things I wanted to talk about, the 10 signatures for these warrants,
we
articles.
just spent 15 minutes on Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I know, but
Come
not
on,
today.
guys.
Not today, but I still want to go over that. I want to go over elected versus appointed. That's still on my list. So there you
So I'm
Not
going
today.
I'm going to ask this question of the committee in sort of twofold. One, we've been at this for about an hour and 15 minutes, and that's typically about the maximum amount of bandwidth that we have. We I think have totally finished our review of the charter revisions from town council's office. I think we can actually check that one off of our box. We made a lot of progress on that. I know that we have, I know that there are, the other agenda item is topics to include in our report and motions related thereto. We can try to get some of those started, or we can wait until Monday. We have our next meeting. I've already scheduled it. It's Monday, 9 a.m.
I'd rather wait till Monday.
We can do it then. And part of the reason I'd almost suggest that as well is so that we have Tucker there. I feel like we need everyone if we're going to start making more of these substantive motions.
And I've got
I
notes.
am going to submit to you some proposed recommendations in
Yes.
writing. Going back to Linda's point about the Warrant articles, absolutely has to increase. And my comment to you about referring to that state commission that I was in my memo,
Yes,
that's going to be a motion. I'm going to give you those two
Good.
motions on Monday.
good. All right. Sounds, I mean, I'm assuming I'm reading the temperature of the committee here. It sounds like we start fresh on Monday with the real substantive motions and start moving forward, or
adjourn.
continuing to move forward since we made such progress today.
Move to
Campbell.
adjourn.
I just have a quick question, just so that we can maybe figure out what we should be focusing on between now and Monday. I have Curtis's motions, Linda, and one of the motions has to do with the number of signatures required for a citizen's petition. That's
Yes.
one of the we're looking at?
Yes,
There was another one you mentioned.
Appointed
Linda?
versus elected officials.
elected versus appointed. I've been on that bandwagon for 30 years.
That's okay. I just want to make it clear so that, I mean, it always helps me if I have an idea of what we're going to talk about, so I know what I should have been thinking about.
Correct.
And
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Campbell.
nope, that's okay, Rick.
So
And
John, I
the other
sent
thing
you an
Yes.
email with 4 motions. We might
Yep.
want to send that out with the agenda. Okay, thank you.
You
And
got
I was looking, given all the non-voting taxpayers' involvement in certain articles this year,
Hmm.
I think we need to discuss that being more inclusive somehow of non-voting taxpayers, because we're spending 80% of our budget is their money. And they have
That
no
is,
choice,
and they require all of that to be cared for.
and they don't
on-
care for it.
They, because it fills our schools. It
Yeah,
fills
and I
our,
think- Yeah, pays for everything, let's face it.
our- it's, you know, it's upgrades, 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 and that takes that.
Okay. All right, with that in mind, so we're gonna pass over on the item 6, which is discussion and finalization of the report board, report to select board and town meeting, but we know that we're gonna tackle those on Monday morning. Fantastic. Any other business? Okay, hearing none, our next
Move
committee,
to adjourn.
hold on. Our next
Well, nobody
meeting is
seconded.
Monday, May 17th at 9 a.m. I'll send out, it's the same Zoom link, but I'll send everything out again, either this afternoon or tomorrow morning. And now I heard a motion to adjourn from Curtis. Is there a second?
Second,
All right, thank you. Motion made and seconded. We'll do roll call vote to adjourn at 10:20. Rick Atherton,
Aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
aye.
Curtis Barnes,
Right.
and the chair votes aye as well. All right, thank you all very much. I will see you on Monday, and please get me those motions. All right,
Thank you.
thank you, everyone.